In this video, we will learn about saturated and unsaturated solutions. Now, as we studied earlier, we can have different types of solutions based on the concentration, based on the solutes dissolved, etc. Now, if we take the components, we have the solute and solvent. Solute will get dissolved in the solvent. Now we'll see the two types of solutions based on the concentration. We already know dilute and concentrated, but here we'll be using a different terminologies, that is saturated and unsaturated. Now what does the word saturated mean? Now if I take saturation point, that means it is the maximum stage of any concept that we are thinking of. So saturated solution means it has the maximum amount of solute dissolved in it at a given temperature. Here temperature plays a very important role. Now we can see here it is a saturated solution which is dissolving. Let's take this is salt solution, or we can take it as sugar solution. Now as and when we start to dissolve sugar, initially it will be very fast. Now as the concentration increases, we can see that some of the sugar takes longer to dissolve, but after some point it will not dissolve any sugar in it. So in that state it is called as a saturated solution. So thus a saturated solution contains maximum amount of solute that can be dissolved in a given solvent at a given specified temperature, because temperature variation can again affect the saturation point of a solvent. Now in a case the solution has less than the maximum amount that can be dissolved in a given temperature, then it is termed as unsaturated. So that means it has sugar in it, but still it can allow to dissolve more sugar molecules in it, so under a specified temperature. And there is another possibility also, that it can dissolve more at a higher temperature. Now how to prepare a saturated solution? So in this experiment we will prepare a saturated solution of potassium chloride at room temperature. So material required are simple: distilled water, beaker and potassium chloride. We have to take a beaker, and in the beaker we will take 50 ml of distilled water. Now we have to make sure it is distilled water. The distilled water will not have any solute dissolved in it, so it is pure water. Now we have to add 1 gram of potassium chloride, that is KCl, to the water and stir it with a glass rod, and the salt will dissolve it and it will disappear. Now we have to add more of the potassium chloride eventually. So that is, we have to repeat this step 1 of adding potassium chloride 1 gram at a time and keep on stirring it and repeat the process. So continue adding small amount of potassium chloride and keep on stirring the solution. So we will come at a point where no more of potassium chloride will get dissolved in this solution of 50 ml of water. Now we'll observe that the solution is in a saturated state, that is, it has reached the maximum amount and it can no longer dissolve not even 1 gram of potassium chloride at the given temperature, that is room temperature. Now how do we know whether a saturated solution can be turned into an unsaturated solution? So it is by the method of heating. Now saturated solution, which can no longer dissolve any solute, can become an unsaturated solution by increasing the temperature. Now if the temperature of the saturated solution of the given potassium chloride is raised, then some more potassium chloride can be added to the solvent and we can stir it and it will easily dissolve. Now this shows that saturated solution can become unsaturated on heating. Now what will happen after cooling? Now if a saturated solution available at a particular temperature is cooled, so this is on heating, the previous one was on heating, it will dissolve more. But what will happen if I reduce the temperature or lower the temperature? So the part of dissolved substance will get separated out of the solution in the form of crystals. So this is opposite. So this term that we use to define it is known as crystallization. So this is because the solubility of a solvent or solid in water is directly influenced by the temperature. So upon raising it, more molecules can be dissolved. Upon lowering it, less molecules can be dissolved. So the remaining solution after this crystallization process is still said to be saturated solution, but at a lower temperature that we changed. Now we know what is unsaturated and saturated, how to convert a saturated to unsaturated. Now we will see something known as a supersaturated solution. Now we know that under special conditions, a solution may be made to contain more solute in it than its maximum amount, that is a saturation point. Now we know the super solution or supersaturated solution is different because the temperature is same, but still we can dissolve more solute in it. So such solution is known as supersaturated solution. Now a supersaturated solution can be prepared by slow and undisturbed cooling of a saturated solution prepared at a higher temperature. So this has to be very slow, because if it is faster, the solutes that were dissolved in this will get crystallized and it will separate out. So in that case, we'll just get saturated solution with some crystals which are dissolved in this molecule or the solute. So a supersaturated solution of potassium chloride can be prepared by slightly heating the water. When the solution is carefully and slowly cooled to room temperature, the salt will not get separated or crystallized. Now the solution holds more solute than it can theoretically hold at the room temperature. Thus, it is known as a supersaturated solution. That is, now we have to have hot water and dissolve the salt, potassium chloride, and slowly cool it, very slowly, slow cooling. Now we will not allow it to crystallize, but still it can hold more of the molecules and thus will be termed as supersaturated solution. I hope this topic is clear to you. Thank you.